kind of like it sounds, we basically just kind of extend those lines. And here we introduce an express arrangement on the Tasman West, similar to what we did down in the Santa Teresa area. And this allows us to kind of have, slow speeds on the Mountain View line is a huge complaint in the system by all the riders. This allows people to sort of make an express train one stop before they get to kind of a load center there in Santa Clara. It also takes the other line all the way down, doesn't stop at Hostetler, but goes all the way down to Alma. So it kind of gives double service on that east side of the line, which is a very highly used, even today, highly used part of the system.
Maybe that's a good mitigation for the fact that the Tasman West got so gerrymandered. I mean, what this traffic doesn't show is the way it wanders all over Hell's Half Acre to get to Mountain View.
Right.
And at least if you skip most of the stations, you can go this way. It's probably the cheapest way to solve that design problem.
That's right. That's kind of
good creative.
That's the sort of idea that we're trying to get across. Yes.
I was reading an old schedule from the old number 20 bus that used to run between Mountain View and Milpitas, and I found that on the bus plan on average ran 5 minutes faster than the light rail currently runs now. I see some potential with this one though, but it has to be looked at a little bit more.
Yeah.
But just as a data point though, it's not good. The light rail, especially Tasman West, is compared to the bus that it replaced.
Right. Yes.
Oh gosh, if I can remember my question. Would you have to construct any additional track or any additional sidings to accommodate this express service on the Tasman West line?
Just double track.
Just.
We have to double track the single track segment.
Oh, I see. Where over near the Wisman station.
Right.
You'd need to double track that, but that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can just reduce Central Expressway to 4 lanes again, which
No
would be
big
fine
deal.
with me. That stupid merging situation that you forced us to accept.
Yes, back there.
Just creates
So
congestion.
you expand it to double track between Wisman and downtown Mountain View. How would that play with the plans for California high-speed rail, which will require 4 tracks and will take up all of that right of way? How would that be done?
You know, I mean, I do not know the answer to that, and neither does high speed rail, from what I can tell. And you know, we've asked them that question, and they're not giving us the runaround. They haven't looked at that. Obviously, that's going to be an area that's going to be a focus of that for design from their perspective and ours. But we could see it as a potential opportunity to really make this correction in the system if we can find a design solution that works for both high-speed rail and light rail. Yes?
I just think that the Mountain View area, with the high-speed rail is going to be, I think it's very, everything much is in fluid right now because, high-speed rail ultimately has the requirement. At the same time, the Caltrain station in Mountain View is highly used and it's also quite constrained. Kind of the northbound platform, how narrow that is, and it's already, people, it's way overcrowded. So it's sort of like Caltrain needs to expand and light rail wants to expand and high-speed rail. So it's sort of like, and they're not talking about putting a station there.
Right.
And they, if politics change, Palo Alto is, not saying no to high-speed rail. Mountain View is saying yes, and then, that's how do you do the intermodal and all that? It's going to be even more complicated. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a long list of things we're going to have to look at when high-speed rail kind of comes out with plans. That would have, significantly affect this work that we're talking about right here. Yeah.
What are you anticipating Barton wanting you to open?
2018.
You read Alice in Wonderland?
I'm just giving you the opening date. That was the question. Anyway, extensions. So somebody asked about extensions earlier. There's a couple things about extensions. I mean, we're evaluating them as part of this study, and we're looking at them under every sort of conceivable scenario. So I've shared with you all these ways we're changing the system. What we really are obligated to do is look at how the extensions perform under all these different changes to the system. Under the status quo part of the system, this is the ridership at the extension stations. So there's 3 on the Eastridge extension, and then there's 2 on the Vasona, and then there's an infill station at West San Carlos. And that station is between Diridon and Race, and that's being considered. The red line represents our policy. So we have a system expansion policy. It's our transit sustainability policy. And that's sort of a threshold for policy for us to sort of evaluate an extension to see whether it's performing sort of what we expect it to. So obviously, none of the new stations are performing to that level. Does that mean that they wouldn't perform under some of the different scenarios? We don't know. We need to look at that. But they're not there.
I noticed Eastridge comes close.
Yes, Eastridge does come close. That's right. And another thing is to keep in mind that the Vasona and Eastridge extension, they have different status under Measure A. I mean, the Measure A ballot, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, included the Capital Expressway, the Eastridge extension. Vasona wasn't included in that. We're evaluating them together, but they're not necessarily on the same status in terms of with the voting. And the extensions will be evaluated with the rest of the system. So I mean that's sort of all I have to say at this point about extensions. That's all the work we've done. Yes.
I noticed that the Eastridge, the project, has a completed EIR and it's going through an EIS phase. So can someone elaborate, what the intent of that is?
Yeah, I mean one of the things of neither of the Eastridge or the Vasona project have federal environmental clearance, and so you have to have performed the EIS. And for people who are wondering what these mean, the EIR is Environmental Impact Report that's done for the state, which we did for both the light rail extensions. Environmental Impact Statement is an EIS that's done for federal law, and you have to have a completed EIS in order to qualify for federal funds, such as stimulus funds, such as rail new starts funds. And so Eastridge and the other extension in Vasona don't have those, and so we're going through the process right now of updating the environmental documentation to make us eligible for future federal funding if and when it's available. So that's kind of what we're doing.